Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, friends. Welcome to another Eve Frontier live stream. This is the wrap-up of Cycle 1, and I'm your host, CCP Jötunn. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I'm peeking right now. May get a little bit further away from my microphone. This is the end of our first cycle, friends. You may be asking yourself, if you're not familiar with Eve Frontier, CCP Jötunn, what is a cycle? And a cycle in the alpha development of Eve Frontier is a period of time. Is it time out of game? Is it time in game? Who truly can say? I mean, I can, but, for the lore nerds out there, it's hard to say. We are breaking up our development into these cycles, though, where you're doing sections of time. Each one of those sections of time is going to have fun new things, interesting things, new things for us to test, new things for us to work on. And boy, howdy, are we excited about the start of our next one. But before we get to the start of our next one, friends, we are live from my strange orange dystopian void for the wrap-up of Cycle 1. Cycle 1 began with the kickoff of of Founder Access back in December. We have been hard at it ever since then, and it ends imminently. Let's say imminently, sometime next week. So, with that in mind, we are going to be talking a little bit this today about what we've been doing over the last couple of months. You're going to see a lot of numbers today. We have a ton of numbers for our players who have been active and engaged in the world of the Frontier over these last several months. We're going to show you some pictures, a lot of screenshots. So many screenshots, my God. So many screenshots, and we have some cool video at the very end for everybody that gives us a little bit of, so you can see a little bit of what the players have been up to. So before we get started, I do want to thank specifically my good friend CCP Red Dragon for helping out set this all up. Shout out to you, CCP Red Dragon. You're a legend. Thank you so much. Friends, this is a big one. We have, like I said, we have a lot of numbers to get into, but before we get to the numbers, we're going to start with some notable events that took place over the last several months on the Frontier. This Founder Access period, this beginning of Cycle 1, kicked off with a bit of a conundrum. There was a group of riders in the Frontier who could not get out of the region they spawned in. In Frontier, every ship has a jump drive. Those jump drives are limited in how far they can jump based off a variety of factors. But the long and short of it was the riders in that region, the region of K4T-Y, could not leave their region because the closest star outside of that region was just too far away, and they would have needed what effectively amounts to a rare fuel spawn or a rare crude matter spawn for them to be able to get out. And they were not able to do so. They formed a strange sort of like Stockholm Syndrome-esque relationship with K4T. They began to publish a lot of strange propaganda. There was chanting heard. It was very unusual, and it ended when another rider who was outside of the region was kind enough, in the tenderness of their heart, to travel over, jump into K4T using the fuel they had acquired in the wider Frontier, and then list the materials they needed to make that better fuel at an exorbitant markup in the local market. So shout out to that industrious rider and to all the denizens of K4T who finally got out. I think our game director, CCP Goodfellow, would have preferred you stay locked in there forever. But it was fun to see everybody get out and embrace the sense of community. This was all within like the first 3 days of the alpha period. So wild stuff. We also had a data core hunt over the holiday break where I believe it was 20 encrypted data cores were scattered across the Frontier, dropped by random feral drones. Those data cores then were recovered with a big prize at the end, a big prize, which will be revealed in time. The winner of that one was, of course, Algorithmic Warfare's Air God, who I believe has been in some discussion about that prize here over the last several weeks. We also had the emergence of the Feral Moon Eater, the largest NPC in any of our products to date. Maybe not quite the largest, but it's pretty close. It's a big fella. The feral moon eater. Thrice has it been attempted to kill one, each time not quite making it happen. Shout out to Michael JD of Tried Reapers for organizing those attempts to kill the feral moon eater. You're going to see a little bit more footage of that here before too long. But yes, tried to kill a god 3 times, didn't quite work out, but maybe it's like they say, 4th time's the charm. We'll see what happens. We also had the first large battleship brawl in EVE Frontier, featuring a bunch of, or rather a fight between a handful of Karuta class battleships and Groose class battleships, between the groups Rooks and Kings and the Trinary Accord Syndicate. The first big battleship brawl followed up by another battleship brawl not too long after. We will get to that in a little bit. We also had the Trinary Syndicate Proving Grounds, a player-organized event that had a group or a handful of teams of 2 or teams of 3 facing off against each other in an asteroid belt, utilizing a lot of the cool new mechanics of EVE Frontier, primarily our occlusion mechanics and our increased tick rate, to show what the dynamic PvP gameplay of Frontier might look like in the future. It was raw, but man, it was a lot of fun. They're going to do another one on Sunday. We'll be streaming that one internally on our Discord. That will be a 10v10, also hosted by the Trinary Accord Syndicate. Shout out to those guys for putting that together. Should be a lot of fun. I'll be streaming it. It'll be great. We also had the arrival of our Remnant class riders. Remnant riders are individuals who signed up for our free access period that started on Valentine's Day, February 14th, and continued on through the 24th, just recently ending in that period. Got a ton of great feedback from the remnants. They were super engaged the entire time. Really contributed a lot to the Frontier, and we got a lot of good data from them as well. The entire point of this alpha period, especially our founder access period, is to get players involved in the development of Frontier. We call it co-development. This is not a new term, but we're using it. Co-development, where we're trying to get our players as close to the development process as possible, getting them in conversations with developers, giving them conversations with people like me, dancing monkeys up here on the stage, doing this sort of thing, so we can build a better product for our players in the future. It's important to us that the game is not just does not just work. Working is a good start, but is also fun and engaging. And the only way that we know how to do that is by talking to the people who are going to be looking for that fun and that engagement. So those folks in the Founder Access, first of all, shout out to our founders. You guys are great. Love you all. You're just the absolute bee's knees, and you're killing it out there. You guys, stay golden. But the founders really took these remnants under their wing. They came in. I will tell you right now that in the EVE Frontier Discord, of which I am a member, shocking, I know. The remnant writers often had questions about how the game works. People who have never touched an EVE product before in their life, showing up and asking about how to do kind of basic things. And it would have been an overwhelming number of people if it would have just been me, or even just me and our GMs. But thankfully, our players rose to the occasion again, as always, and stepped up, and it really helped those folks out. So thank you so much, for founder writers. Shout out to CCP Cat climbing up on my desk. No big deal. CCP Cat can just go over here onto the ground. Love that for me. Anyway, and then of course the goodbye of the remnants as well. Goodbye remnants, thank you so much. We will be doing future free periods as well. Of course, we'll advertise those well in advance so everybody can get a chance to poke their head in and take a look at Frontier if they so desire. Our goal, as always, has been to build a game first. The game is the most important part of what we're doing. Our game director, CCP Goodfellow, talks about it all the time. If we can't make a fun game, then we're not doing the job. And the job is to make a fun game. So shout out to everybody who's been participating in all of our playtests last year, all of the founder access period this year, the free access period that happened just a couple weeks ago. Honestly, the feedback has been so good. You guys have contributed so much to this process and made my job super easy as the community developer for eFrontier. I didn't realize this was going to be such an easy job. I wake up every day, walk into work. The people I work with are great. I look at the players are great. It's the best job in the world. I don't know what else to tell you. It's pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and move ahead. We have a lot of numbers. We have truly so many numbers. Shout out to, I'm not sure what his CCP name is. There's one of our CCP friends who helped put these numbers together. Shout out to him. And also, of course, CCP Red Dragon for helping put these charts together. He is a legend. So we're going to get into the data. This is information about what we did on the frontier. These numbers were collected going back to December 19th up until, I assume, today. I believe today. So these are as up to date as possible. I'm going to give as much context as I can. A little bit of this is going to be straight. If you're not familiar with Frontier, or you've not played any of the Frontier playtests or Frontier, like I said, the free period, or if you're not a founder, some of the stuff you may be thinking, "Hey, Jötunn, oh, what the hell's all this?" And the answer is, trust me, it makes sense in context. I will do my best to explain it as best I can. Of course, this is another part where I come to you and I say that Frontier is in alpha. All of the stuff that you're going to see throughout this stream is work in progress, especially our assets are all work in progress. As you've probably heard, Frontier is also built on the same carbon development engine that EVE Online is built on. So there are, of course, placeholder assets in place in some cases that you're going to see. This is not indicative of us just trying to be lazy about it. I know that's a very easy claim to make. Believe me, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, but sometimes you got to have an asset, and if there's an asset that works, the asset works. So we're going to see a lot of that, but there's a lot of really cool stuff that's happening as well. So the data. Let's start here. First off, the universe. The universe of Frontier, at some point we are going to have upwards of 120,000 star systems. We're not at that point yet, certainly. We are at, I believe, 24,000 star systems. And of those 24,000 star systems over the last 2 months, 18.18, which is a fun number, percentage of the of the universe, not solar system, 18.18 systems, 4,455 systems were visited, that amounting to 18.18% of the entire galaxy. Pretty cool. You can see this handy pie chart. See these numbers here: 18.18% visited, other math percentage unexplored, which is a lot of fun. The universe is big. Players have been grinding at this thing for 2 months, still have not seen the entire universe, have not honestly even gotten close, which is pretty cool. Dark Shines Eve says, what are the date ranges again, CCP? These go back to the 19th of December up until today. So the entire first cycle, that being almost the back end of December, all of January, and of course now almost all of February. Moving right along. Resources. This is a big number. This is, we had 1.2 billion minerals mined from asteroids and 10.4 million materials mined out of crude rifts. Crude rifts are the how you get crude matter in Frontier. Crude matter is a source material for a lot of derivative products. The primary product, of course, being fuel, because ships on the Frontier require fuel to do a lot of things. Run some modules, refill your capacitor, jump. Of course, those are all just basic systems, and there will be more systems to come. But 10.4 million various crude mineral or crude materials mined is actually a ludicrous number. So, just to give you a little bit of perspective about the top 5 asteroid types mined out. Metal-rich ore, obviously a big one, and you'll see why here in just a little bit. 537 million units of metal-rich ore have been mined. Carbonaceous ore was 383 million, and then less so going down to common ore. Common ore, hilariously, one of the least common types of ore mined on the Frontier. Manufacturing, my God, 2.2 billion items, different items were manufactured. This is a little misleading because some items were made in bulk because of the updated industry system in Frontier. So there are a lot of items in here that will cause numbers to be very big. But 2.2 billion is still a pretty cool number. The biggest number, of course, by a wide margin, was steel. Turns out Frontier needs a lot of steel. Also, steel was a thing that you could sell to make money, which is what a lot of writers ended up doing. Steel, in fact, what you'll see here, of course, you have steel at the top, a light metal alloy used in a lot of ship components, and then our various fuels below that, steel beams and steel plates, and of course, 72.89% of all items were manufactured were steel. Perhaps pointing to an imbalance in Frontier's economy in Cycle 1. Certainly something we will be looking at into the future. My God, truly so much steel. This is not, I think, probably surprising, but it is hilarious that the number is so high. CCP Red Dragon and I had a good chuckle about this earlier. It is very, very funny. Moving right along, we also had 85,591 modules manufactured. Modules in Frontier currently work much the same they do in EVE Online. They are things you can fit to your ship to make your ship do different things. We have a handful of ships, a handful of modules, more to be coming in the next couple of months. But 85,500 were made during the last 2 months and change. Of course, the top modules manufactured were cargo grids, the base coil gun, and the small cutting laser. All of these are pretty basic items. Cargo grids make your ship have more stuff inside of it. Coil guns shoot far and are used on the smaller ships. And of course, small cutting lasers are good for mining. A handful of other items on here as well. What I find very interesting is the attuned shield generator getting on this list because they, especially at the end of the playtest, a lot of those were getting used. And I really saw those numbers come up, which is fun. Jumping ahead, manufactured 8,121 ships were manufactured in the Frontier over the last cycle. The most popular ship being our Jov Corvette. This is not unusual. This is typically the first ship most of our riders would make because of its ease of use and general flexibility, and just because it looks cool. It's like a little hockey puck kind of guy. It's not too bad. The Explorer, hilariously, was a ship that we patched in to fix the issue of K4T, where riders could not jump far enough. We built a ship specifically to do the one thing, which was jump, and then it had a very small cargo bay that you could use to haul back valuable salt to make that the richer fuel that you could use to get out of those regions. So you had the escape ship, you had the basic ship, and then, of course, a handful of ships going to hand here. Shout out to the Karuta. 132 of those were built. That is one of the largest ships in the game currently, one of our battleships, and it's cool to see so many of those getting used. Jumping right along. Screaming PC, lots of Draymar. Draymar is also very popular. It's a destroyer. It's super cool. Kind of like a baby Karuta. Just a little Karuta, just a little guy. We did destroy 4,566 ships, which is very funny. Also, here were the number one, or the items, the top deployed items in Frontier. So Frontier is, among other things, planned to be a base building game. We have a bevy of base building mechanics planned, and a handful that are already in the product currently. Of course, portable refineries and portable printers being the two highest. I don't think anybody would be surprised by that. Both of those are used in the process, in the mining process and the building process for ships in bases. So, of course, a lot of them got laid down. I'm pretty sure a lot of printers were getting laid down too, to grief other players for a while, because you could spam the overview that way. That's a fun thing that happened. Thank you so much, players, for doing that fun thing that I did not personally have to go clean up myself and take hours to do. It was a great fun thing that did not happen. I sincerely appreciate it. Moving right along, these are player statistics. So we wanted to do player statistics and group statistics. Right now we only have player statistics. For all of you in Frontier who have played Frontier, who are in our Discord, you'll be getting group statistics here before too long. But right now, let's take a look at our top players of Cycle 1. So, in terms of kills, first off, we have our top 10 NPC killers, our top 10 crabs, if you will, to use familiar lexicon. Number 5, of course, was Achilles from Clone Bay 86. Sly Marbo was number 4. Biohazard's Hideki was 3rd. Cole from Tribe Onyx was 2nd, and of course, Failtigan from Algorithmic Warfare was number 1 by, honestly, a pretty good margin. So shout out to Failtigan, just grinding through feral drones. Honestly, the scourge of the drones on the frontier over the last 2 months, pretty impressive. We have the top 10 PvP killers, or rather the top 10 player killers. Of course, number 5 being Hard Charges Ra. Number 43 being Set Hacked. Number 46 being Debitum Naturae Alexios. Number 2 being, believe this is Biohazards, Pay Pig Thoughtpocalypse, and of course number 1 is Reaper's Taptic. And then of course you have the rest of the top 10 below that. These are our top 10. Again, these are just player killers. They did kill a lot of players. Now granted, how many of these were in actual fighting ships versus just new bros on the undock? Again, who truly can say? Our top 5 structure killers, mind you. Of course, we have Dead's Illuminars at number 5. We have Air God from Algorithmic Warfare at number 4. We have Rooks and Kings, Mr. Dead Meat at number 3. Dead, Tribe Deads, Kokaker Alfreer at number 2. And of course, we have Wandering Order of the Last Frontiers, UK Fat Guy at number 1 with 26 structure kills. Shout out to those guys. Resource harvesting. We have the most crude matter harvested. Of course, crude matter, like I said before, is a product that gets used to gets turned into fuel, among other things. It has other things. Salt is a fuel for structures like Stargates. Gets used as well. Our top 5 there being Wally X from Reapers, Cram Reapin from Algorithmic Warfare, Psychonaft from IOIO, KSU from Reapers, and of course Jamie also from Reapers. Reapers out there getting that crude. One of the more active groups in the frontier, and certainly one of the more active groups in the hunt for crude matter rifts. Yes, IW or IG IGRI Reap isn't just PvP. They are also PV crude matter rift. Anyway. Most asteroids mined. I believe this is not asteroids mined. I believe this is material or ore recovered from asteroids. Top 5 there being Nikita 3003 from one of the algorithmic warfare groups. Tier from that is Psych Ward, ticker haha. Dakota from Heavy Metal. Sketrov from Reapers, and of course Beast Mode from Biohazard, rather, with a huge number, 14 million. That's a ton of ore mined. Thank you so much, guys, for keeping the industry on the frontier running. Speaking of industry on the frontier, our manufacturing statistics. The most ships manufactured, of course, our top 5 being Flogi from Tribe Frontier Venture. We had Kim Fatty the Third from Tribe Wandering Order of the Last Frontier. We had Air God from Algorithmic Warfare, of course. Tommy from Tribe Reapers 4. And, of course, Wesley Pipes from, I believe that is Caldari's First Order with 81 ships. What a number. That's a lot of ships. The most structures deployed, of course, again, these are base building mechanics things. The base building mechanics currently on the frontier really incentivizes putting something down, then just leaving it or building another one somewhere else. The structures were fairly cheap, so we saw these numbers get inflated pretty high. Still, top 5 here being Cantabar from Kadari's First Order, Flogi from Frontier Venture, KSU from Reapers, Wally from Reapers, and Jamie from Reapers. Then exploration. We already said the frontier was vast, but less than 20% of it has been explored. Of course, the most systems visited does go to KSU from Reapers with 885 personally explored, which is a tiny insignificant fraction of the number of systems total, but hey, it's higher than everybody else, so shout out to them. Making up the rest of the top 5 being Flogi, Silence from Dead, Joe Average from another algorithmic warfare group, and Spectre from Wandering Order of the Last Frontier. Shout out to those guys. I'm doing a lot of shout outs today. How fun is that? The most jumps. I believe this takes into account both Stargate jumps and also ship jumps. because, like I said, every ship on the Frontier has a jump drive that I can use to jump to distant systems. Top 5 here being Cole from Tribonics, Laszlo Holyfield from Psych Ward, Flogi, again from Frontier Venture, Erosis from Caldari's First Order, and Joe Average. Joe Average, remember that name, Joe Average, from one of the Algorithmic Warfare groups. I believe that's Algorithmic Warfare 2, maybe, or Algorithmic Warfare Reloaded, one of those groups. There are a lot of Algorithmic Warfare groups. And then Playtime. Again, top 5 in terms of hours spent on Frontier. Dakota from Heavy Metal, number 5. Soulblighter from Algorithmic Warfare, number 4. Zarut from Wandering Over the Last Frontier, number 3. Takwan from, I think that is Japanese Gamers Guild at number 2. And number 1, Joe Average. Shockingly, the least average person in terms of playtime in eFrontier with 1,432 hours. That's a ton. It's more than me. So good on y'all. Thank you so much for playing our game. Hope you continue to play it in the future. We also have, and I added this one at the absolute last minute, these are top yappers. These are the people who spent the most time talking in our Discord. There's really no reason for me to include this other than to meme on these guys. But again, these are the people who have straight up no-lifed our Discord the hardest since December 19th. Unfortunately, I'm on this list, which, on the one hand, wow. On the other hand, it's my job. So what are you going to do? But the top 5, of course, being Milician Tetro rather, Aki, Proto-Droid Bot, Sketchrov, and Michael JD. The usual suspects of the Frontier Discord, if you're familiar with that space. If you're not, discord.gg/efrontier, you should come check it out. All you have to do is sign the NDA, and then you can get in, see all the cool stuff, and, hang out. And I guess get to see Michael JD posting truly so many messages in the Discord. So, but again, makes my job easier when people are participating. So thank you guys so much for participating. Our builders. So, yes, eFrontier is built with a blockchain. Oh, goodness gracious. Our builders who are using that blockchain or using the backend of eFrontier to build and mod the game in all kinds of cool ways, using their effectively inbuilt ability to add third-party applications to the universe of Frontier, have been hard at work. I could not go through all of them. Honestly, I understand about a third of them, but they are super cool, and I wanted to show you guys a couple of them. I think we have 4 here we're going to go through. This one is perhaps my favorite. This was built by Aquila from Tribe Atlas. I believe that is Atlas Corp is the name. Built a universe visualizer, universe map that showed, importantly, every player Stargate built, which you can see here is, of course, connections with normal gates, and then the larger lines are, the larger orange lines in this case are player-built gates. You can also use it to calculate jump distances for your ship based off how much mass you had, the quality of your fuel, among other things. So, Aquila absolutely nailed this one. This was one of the coolest and personally most useful tools for players. I think it probably got the most use generally. Honestly, it is a feat to behold once, especially over the last, I believe this is a pretty early video. Over the last several months, or several weeks rather, this has gotten really filled out. There's a lot more orange in the universe now from people anchoring gates and building connections in between distant stars. But as you can see from this map, every one of these dots is a star, and boy howdy, it can get complicated quickly. So thank you, Aquila, for creating this very cool map tool. Super useful for me, for everybody else, and we appreciate you putting in the effort for it. We also have Bowcode, who built basically a data visualizer for Frontier. This is a complicated tool. Thankfully, CCP Red Dragon was here to explain it to me. This is a data explorer. He just recently added a mud table for editing directly from the website. So this is a web tool that you can use to visualize data inside of Frontier. Super useful, again, I'm sure, for those guys. Complicated for me as a simple man. I am, of course, just a talking monkey, but I appreciate that people like this exist. Shout out to Bowcode for this very cool Eve Data Core Explorer. Really, really helpful. Moving right along, we have Jareth TGK, who built a template for dApps in C Sharp rather, for builders and for other people who want to use C instead of the default programming language. Really, really cool. Again, not a thing that I'm super familiar with, but I love to see it, and it's super, super neat. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. There are smarter people than me playing the game right now, and they're doing cool things, and I just have to sit back and be like, yeah, hell yeah. Like the supportive boyfriend. You know, what are you going to do? And the last one, of course, this one is very funny. Kalapatu put together basically a gate ticketing system for people to charge for access to their smart gates. That is cruel and unusual, perhaps, but useful, I guess, if you want to set up a toll system. This is a thing you could use to do that. So shout out to Kalipatu for putting it together. It looks like we may be dropping some frames. That is, sorry about that. If we are dropping frames, this video is going to be up on YouTube afterwards, so you'll be able to see it there. And I'm recording it, so it shouldn't have any issues there. I beg your forgiveness. So again, our builders are great. They're doing cool things. If you are interested in exploring what you can do on the back end of Frontier, we have a thriving builders community. CCP Red Dragon, the homie, is really involved there. You can get involved in our Discord as well. Again, that address is discord.gg/efrontier. Come check it out. All right, so screenshots. Yes, Sudamon, dude made an iPass. Honestly, pretty brutal, but it is what it is. Screenshots. So I asked our players for some screenshots. I promised I would credit them for the screenshots, and then they dumped truly so many screenshots on top of me that I could not do it. So I want to shout out to all of our players for contributing these. They gave me, honestly, so many screenshots of what they saw and what they did on the Frontier. None of these have been doctored. None of these have been edited. I did nothing to them. These are just player screenshots they sent us that are cool as hell. Up here, Karuta Battleship, top left. You can see in the bottom left a very small base, including a refuge, where people can do some stuff with their ship. And a turret there in the front looks like a little traffic cone kind of situation. And I mean, seriously, the number of shots we've gotten back from these guys who have been, again, putting in hours and hours and hours in the game, participating not just as players, but as builders, as feedback, support for me, support for the rest of our team. I mean, I honestly could not have done it without, again, the community that we have been building over the last couple of months. And I'm looking forward, again, to what the future is going to hold. We are going to go into Cycle 2 here before too long. We're going to have some news about that coming up next week, including a big dev blog and another stream that we're going to be doing publicly, I believe, on next Thursday. And it's going to be an exciting one. We have a new member of the team we're going to introduce to everybody, and it's going to be super, super cool. But if you are unsure about Frontier, or you are skeptical about Frontier, or you think any number of things about Frontier, I understand. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of information out there. You may have just decided it's not for you, and if that's the case, I respect it. It's fine. There's no, you are free to do whatever you want to do. However, if you're not sure and you want to check it out, just come check out our Discord. If nothing else, you can talk to our players. You can see what they've been doing. And again, these screenshots here are just a drop in the bucket of what I've watched players do as I've been creeping around in space like some sort of strange purveyor. It has been a joy to behold, if I'm being perfectly honest. It is so much fun to get to interact with you guys, you get to play with you guys, you get to talk to you guys. I do not want to do anything else. It is honestly the best job in the world, and it's only because of you guys. So that being said, thank you so much for hanging out, watching this. We do have one more quick thing. I'm going to play we have a wrap-up video including game footage from our players. This is unedited. Well, I mean, it is edited, obviously. I cut it up and added some music to it, but it is player footage. It's not cinematics. It's nothing else. This is just player footage, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. And then after this, I'll say goodbye, and then we'll call it a night. So for me, here's our players. Thank you so much for watching.
I know I'm dead, my lord.
And you've been dead for a very long time.
What are you talking about?
You walked us to the station out.
Because like Karudas and Haxties.
We're behind the station.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, like we don't work on the same, like, we don't have the same work speed, yes.
So that's fascinating. They didn't like bring that part over, or maybe they just haven't implemented it.
I'll broadcast it.
Who the hell? Oh my god, guys, get the hell off, guys. Oh my god.
Spare points.
Why?
Get.
Yeah, take this one, warp out. Shit.
I can't lock it. Just shoot it, fire.
Okay, guys. Yeah.
Okay,
Give me a target. Okay. Guys, this is a target. Broadcasting target.
Get up, boy.
3, 2, 1, fire.
Points off.
Also needs a point.
Should we get P45?
Dear Lord.
P45?
I'll punch out, move down. We'll shoot P45 next. P45 next. Like Maelstrom's next. We'll go for Maelstrom next.
The past life.
I've been feral even longer.
Feral means wild. Something that leaves its box and goes astray. But that means you or someone watching you has to remember what the box was.
Nice.
Stop cycling rules. Stop cycling rules.
Help get rid of the points. He's down.
Okay, let's shoot the bus next. Next, that one's done. One day I lost by forever. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I have been CCP Jötunn. This has been our Cycle 1 wrap-up. We'll be back with you next week for our stream leading into Cycle 2, but until then, I'll see you on the Frontier Riders. Have a lovely night.